The most recognizable buildings in Arkansas, not only home to our lawmakers, it houses multiple memorials and has been featured in several major motion pictures, but that historic building is hiding a secret, one that's never been unveiled until tonight.
Cue the creepy music. We were granted exclusive after-hours access with a group known as Sweet and Sour Paranormal. As Claire Kreitz shows us, what they found may make you think twice the next time you visit.
The state capitol, it's known as the place where laws are created, history is made. But what happens when the sun goes down and these halls are empty? Whispers of spirits floating inside these walls are common among Capitol staff, whether it's the custodian cleaning the basement or the security guard on the graveyard shift.
These are big guys, old-time cops who were serious about the work. They had heard things. They could swear up and down they had seen things.
State historian David Ware says to understand these stories, it's important to know that these grounds didn't always host those making the laws, but those who broke them.
The old site of the state penitentiary.
Ware talks about the mess of a prison that up until 1899 sat on what is now the home of the state capitol.
So between disease, the violence that you found when you have convicts locked up together in very close quarters, my bet is that there were quite a few deaths.
That begs the next question. Where did they put those bodies?
Certainly, the prisoners were buried on what would today be known as the Capitol's grounds.
While there was an effort to remove the remains, Ware says there could still be remnants.
I believe that if there are any skeletal remains, they're fragmentary.
With that in mind, Sweet and Sour Paranormal set off to see if they could put those haunting tales on record.
I'm just saying, they know we're here, is all I'm telling you.
Immediately, clairvoyant Michelle Martindale got an eerie feeling.
They screamed my name and they screamed Chris's name.
Who did?
Then they said to leave.
As she walked past the elevator,
What do you want to tell me?
something drew her back to it.
One death we do know of, though, is the death of a gentleman named Ira Gurley. Gurley
was the secretary of the Arkansas Game and Fish Commission and was planning a run as Secretary of State. Ware says in June of 1932.
Gurley was getting on board the elevator.
His political aspirations came crashing down.
So the elevator took off. Gurley was in the doorway. The elevator went up. He was crushed in the frame of the elevator.
From that spirit to the next.
I did just see a shadow, though.
Where?
See, walk right here, you know, out of the corner of my eye. Right there where the water bottles are, there's a door. They walked out the door and over towards the desk. It was really fast.
The hunters knew they'd be in for a spooky night.
If the lady is here, can you touch this red light that we have at the bottom of the stairs?
Getting out their gear and going to work.
If you want to talk, just yell into this device at the end of my hand.
It didn't take long for the spirits to make their presence known.
How many is here?
9. Did it say 9? I thought I heard something. Of course, we never did. You see it?
Mm-hmm. Just as our photographer was setting up in one of the hallways, they caught a woman scream on camera. Near the stairs, Chris Counts was walking up as Martindale noticed he wasn't alone.
There's someone beside you.
Using thermal imaging cameras, they could see the silhouette of someone else, but there was no one next to Counts.
See, there's 2 of them.
I want to go to this nursing station.
Later on, Counts took his recording device to the basement.
What is your name? Would you like us to leave now? Okay, turning off the device.
While he was asking the spirit questions, he picked up this.
You want to talk with me?
After 5 hours, it was time to pack up and leave.
And then after that,
When I told Ware about some of the group's findings, I asked asked if he ever had his own paranormal experience in the building.
I never heard anything that I couldn't, if I worked hard enough, explain.
Even still, it makes him wonder what
If you want us to stay, you better.
or who could be lurking around the corner.
Do I discount the possibility of there being spirits in the building, or someone having heard a woman scream with no explanation? I don't.
Tonight, we're diving into the world of the paranormal with an investigation to Little Rock's natural resources area. It's the home of the Arkansas State Crime Lab. It's bound to have a few spirits lingering around, don't you say? Well, Claire Kreitz shows us how Sweet and Sour Paranormal uncovered the stories buried below the surface.
A full moon shines on the Arkansas State Crime Lab, the home of investigations into unexpected deaths across the state. Just as this paranormal group begins their investigation into what
I saw a full body ghost walk right underneath that tree.
or who
There's a Danny.
could be hiding around the corner.
Ever during an investigation.
And you just saw one?
I just saw it. Like, yes.
Sweet and Sour Paranormal was called by a family who lives in a home that backs up to the state crime lab after they experienced a few things that just couldn't be explained.
That's where I was when I saw the bottle of cleaner. It had been on the counter up against the backsplash. I looked up and it's sitting upright in the middle of the kitchen floor.
It didn't take long for these paranormal hunters
Will you touch the ball for me and make the light shine up again?
Thank you.
to start experiencing the supernatural themselves.
Hello, how are you? It shook your hand.
Yeah, I can feel it.
Give Michelle a hug. Oh, there you go, touching your hand again. Holy crap. Oh, where'd he go? You turned towards it and oh my. It gave you a hug.
Yeah.
Michelle Martindale is the clairvoyant of the group and says the spirits just want to share their story.
I'd like to know if they know anything about the little one, or like the little voice that, it sounded like a little one's voice, let me put it that way.
Billy. Billy's the name. That's all I know right now.
While some of those can be traced back to the crime lab, others are buried underground before this building ever existed. The year is 1883, and the Arkansas Lunatic Asylum just opened its doors off Markham.
Into that mix, you also throw folks who were suffering from addiction. You had drug addicts, you had alcoholics.
State historian David Ware says mental health care was not at the place it is today, meaning the asylum was constantly overcrowded.
When you have hundreds of people confined, you're going to have deaths, of course, and they were simply buried on the grounds.
As the asylum expanded and became the state hospital, those bodies needed to move.
At some point in the 20th century, most of the graves were relocated to a site further out Markham Street,
Now known as the Natural Resources Area.
Something like 4,000 burials were relocated out to that area.
By the 1970s, this area was growing rapidly, and again, the graves needed to move.
But approximately 1,500 to 2,000 of the burials were left in place.
Walking through the grass, some grave markers still remain. A monument also stands remembering the generations of unclaimed mental patients laid to rest.
Talking to this device as loud as you can for us. We're going to ask you some questions.
As Sweet and Sour finishes this investigation,
Are they okay with us being here?
Oh, absolutely.
they leave this family with a better understanding of the souls lingering in the shadows.
Well, Halloween's just a few weeks away. Attention shifting to all things rather spooky.
But in a state with as much history as Arkansas, it doesn't have to be a holiday for things to go bump in the night. This month, KARK presents the Supernatural State.
You pass by them every day while the sun shines, neighborhood stops, or tourist attractions to educate and entertain. But once the moon rises, it's anything but natural. This is the supernatural state. From a quiet cemetery hiding a dark secret.
Beyond this marker are buried about 90 slaves or descendants of slaves of African origin. So this is a mass slave grave.
To a pillar of Arkansas history. A group of paranormal investigators travel across Arkansas.
How many people are here right now?
Looking to uncover what goes bump in the night.
Okay, here we go.
Our ghost has a sense of humor.
And find out just how unnatural things can be.
We don't need to stay here for long. I felt some bad ones, and that one is a bad one.
Proof of life beyond.
Do you want to talk with me, or do you want us to leave? Hello? Do you hear that?
Or tricks of shadow and sound.
Is that?
Was that not you?
That was not me.
You be the judge as we explore the dark and twisted history of the supernatural state.
Know anybody?
I'm not going to make it through this month. What is this?
That was pretty good.
Okay. I have
interesting.
chills. Yeah. So it's a 4-part series. It kicks off next Monday, October 10th, and brings you to a new Arkansas location each week that's said to be haunted. You might be doing these Monday nights alone.
I've talked to Chris, we saw that, and he works for us, and some of the things that he's done, it's rather interesting. Some of the things
by that he means terrifying.
And I have been looking forward to watching this. Halloween is the perfect time to tell ghost stories, and all October on KARK, we're sharing the haunting tales of Central Arkansas's history.
Tonight, we bring you to a Lonoke County cemetery known for those buried there and the unexplainable things that happen after dark. This is the supernatural state.
A graveyard lost to time.
It's hidden. It's back off the end of a road, down a grass driveway to a tree-filled cemetery. It's beautiful.
The final resting place of some of Arkansas's oldest. Its names and stories faded into history. This cemetery, tucked away in Lonoke County, is part of the supernatural state.
Okay, everybody be very quiet.
It's a popular spot for this group of paranormal investigators.
This is Chris. I want you to talk into this device at the end of my hand.
Set on proving those who are buried here remain with us today. Some in the county know its history. Lonoke Sheriff John Staley has studied those who lie here, a burial ground with a past needing to be unearthed.
This is just history that a lot of it's untold, and a lot of it's just filled with pain.
One haunting tale is that of one of the more prominent families interred here, the Eagles.
This is where the Eagles are buried, the 3 that were murdered.
3 relatives killed trying to retrieve a pack of stolen hogs, as the story goes. Their trial more focused on ownership than bringing justice to a triple homicide.
There was a whole different story there. They were just arguing over whose hogs those were.
Could it be the Eagles haunting these grounds, or someone else?
No!
Whoever it is, medium Maria has picked up on them.
You can't follow her. You can't follow her. You can't follow anybody on this team. You can't attach. And you can't follow me. Stop. They may not be able to see you, but I can. We don't need to stay here for long. I felt some bad ones, and that one is a bad one.
Tree that's like intertwined.
Wait, did that thing just go off?
What thing?
The music box.
No.
It's pointing away from you.
But what shows itself to the group likely isn't them.
Beyond this marker are buried about 90 slaves or descendants of slaves of African origin. So this is a mass slave grave.
It was individual graves, they're just not marked, but they're memorialized by a big marker.
Nearly 100 unknown, trying to make themselves seen for the first time in centuries.
Okay, we see you.
and share a message with those who dare trespass. Proof, at least enough for these investigators that someone or something is listening.
If someone's here, say something.
But in the dark of nature, who can say if it truly is a ghost?
It's a body.
Or a rampant imagination looking for whispers in the night. No matter what you believe, one thing's for certain. This secluded cemetery belongs in the supernatural state.
I'm about to leave.
Not going to head there anytime soon. But and I've got to talk to Chris about. And what that music box, was that supposed to be a spirit actually turning that?
I don't know. I'm concerned about the girl on the crutches, because how did she get out of there on time?
Well, because she could see what to avoid.
Yeah, that's true.
Pretty interesting. Looking forward to bringing you more of those stories throughout the month of October. With a state as historic as Arkansas, graveyards and cemeteries aren't the only places with ghost stories to tell. Tonight we bring you to North Little Rock, the Heritage Center, a museum that tells the story of a city, but also something else. Only on KARK, this is the supernatural state.
A cornerstone of North Little Rock history.
This two-story brick building was built in 1895.
A reminder of what once was, not the location you would think of as home to the paranormal, but behind this unassuming exterior. A group of paranormal investigators looks to meet the true residents of Argenta.
There's been some significant events over the years in the building.
Leaving with one conclusion: the North Little Rock Heritage Center belongs in the supernatural state. On this night, Michelle, Chris, Blake, and Lauren are hoping to uncover the secrets not shown on these walls, the stories left buried in the archives.
This is known by old-timers in North Little Rock as the old fire station building.
Historian Carrie Bradburn knows a few of those tales, working in the same building that was once the fire station, city hall, and jail. There's one story in particular the group hopes comes forward, the only known death tied to the building itself.
A man was in the holding cell in back, and 4 masked intruders came in, overpowered the turnkey. He was lynched on the corner of 6th and Main.
Homer Blackman, killed in 1906, one of the darker tales of Main Street. But as the group begins the night,
there is a lady screaming.
Medium Michelle hears someone else.
Like arguing, she's
angry.
Yes.
It's only the beginning of a very loud night, with most of the evidence
Stop touching the EMF.
Coming in the form of sound. It's not long before something decides to speak up.
Literally, as soon as I started recording, it's a woman's voice.
A recorded murmur caught on Chris's audio recording.
Like right off the bat.
But once the team is reassembled, those whispers turn to shouts, calling on the group by name.
Chris, I mean it.
Among other things.
Did you call us pregnant?
This device cycles through radio stations, giving anything no longer living a chance to speak. Whoever's wearing headphones can hear the ghostly answers, but not the questions. Not only is this spirit chatty.
Are you a man or a woman?
Ghost.
He tells a coherent story no one was expecting.
The roof. Did you jump off the roof?
Pushed him.
You pushed him off the roof? Or you were pushed off the roof? Who did the pushing?
Steve. He done it.
A death not previously recorded. The final moments of something unnatural? A mere coincidence?
Are you undead?
Been a long time.
Or something darker? Looking for a new place to haunt.
Your house.
Go to my house.
Inside.
I'm done. I'm done.
Whatever it is, it's put the North Little Rock Heritage Center firmly in the supernatural state.
Well, there you have it. By the way, we're going to have a bonus content on this edition of Supernatural State on our website, KARK.com. Tucked away between Little Rock's hotels and office buildings sits an older part of Arkansas, the original seat of government for the natural state. But a group of paranormal investigators soon realized the history visitors come to look at may just be looking back. This is the old state house, part of the supernatural state.
Among Little Rock's bustling downtown lies a piece of its history. The former seat of government, home to its earliest laws. But with so many stories trapped within these walls, is something else trapped as well. The old Arkansas State House, a pillar of the supernatural state. Today, this stately Greek revival is now a museum. But back in the day,
that's where state government was.
David Ware is an expert on Arkansas history and knows the once capital of Arkansas.
It went through a variety of uses as a war memorial. For a while, it was home to the state university's medical school.
Has evolved countless times, but some things, not even time can erase.
There was, in fact, one very prominent death dating from 1837.
The killing of Representative J.J. Anthony by Speaker of the House John Wilson, committed in this very room.
They tussled. Anthony was holding a chair in his hand. Wilson got in there and put it up the Green River.
An ugly side to natural state politics, but enough to leave a vengeful spirit.
I can sense someone important, someone with power, but someone with a lot of anger.
On the night Sweet and Sour Paranormal start their investigation, clairvoyant Samantha believes she sensed someone.
Who's been trying to communicate with me since I've been in here?
It could be Anthony, but with activity in the children's wing.
That's the age I'm picking up, like 3, 4.
Samantha believes it's someone younger, using a mechanical doll to try and communicate.
Is anybody in the room with us?
Henry? That's what it sounds like.
Upstairs, Chris is picking up on something too, recording audio in the dark halls of the exhibit wing.
What's your name?
This used to be the autopsy room for the old medical school, now serving a different purpose.
Do you like music?
It's that same connection that seems to appear in a different room.
What was I doing?
An area not accessible to the public, where cadaver storage used to be. Among the cobwebs...
Do you want to talk with me, or do you want us to leave? Hello? Do you hear that?
Something speaks from the dark.
Do you want to talk with us? I want to talk with you.
Using the scatter of radio signals to share a ghostly message. Then again, it's not hard for the building to seem unnatural.
It was built on the cheap, and so they had slightly creaky floors. And there's nothing spookier than the sound of a creaky floor when you don't expect it.
Could it be spirits stalking these halls? Or just age, the weight of a state's history? Whatever it may be, the old state house still remains a fixture of the supernatural state.
There's something unique around every corner. Brings from natural parks, national parks to historic bars, and of course the bathhouses.
But one of the more interesting tales is that of the Malco Theater. Welcome to the grand finale of the Supernatural State, the haunted tales of the Malco Theater.
In the hills of Hot Springs, history can be found at every turn, but nothing shines a light on what was quite like the Malco, a theater showcasing more than what's on stage. This is the Supernatural State. The Malco Theater has a long and storied past. Marked on the National Register of Historic Places, it's used today as a theater of magic.
This is kind of a mess over here because we've been working on things.
But when Sweet and Sour Paranormal begin their investigation, it's not the theater that reveals its secrets, but everywhere else. Down in the basement, the building starts to tell its story. The once Princess Theater burned Christmas Eve 1935, taking most of the structure and a handful of lives with it.
There's someone sitting right there.
The first sign someone lingers after the flames is this figure, caught on camera that tracks human movement.
Oh, my hands.
Touch her.
Cold. So cold.
Really?
So very cold right now. Right here.
Touch her. Oh, it just...
Oh, it's touchy.
It could be written off as a technical error, connecting shadows with things still breathing. But when Chris pulls out a spirit box...
Can I get a drink?
Things become clearer.
It just said clear as day. You want a drink?
This filters through words and phrases, providing ghostly answers to questions asked. As a previous storage area for smuggled booze, a drink makes sense. But then again, so does this.
What object's directly in front of me?
Oh my God, Chris. What? Remember you said, what's the object in front of me? It said rope.
Rope? Oh, that's nuts.
The evidence only solidifying as the group moves next door to an abandoned building that's believed to be a hotel, a former hot spot for the more unsavory world of hot springs. As the tour moves on,
Was that me?
not me. Samantha and Blake hear a whisper directly in between them, with nothing there but air. The camera even picks up a noise. What is that light that floats above Samantha's head? The glare from a flashlight or something else? Whatever it is, it leads to the strongest piece of evidence yet, an audio recording that Chris takes within these damaged walls. Once home to those looking for a different sort of entertainment, he begins his questioning.
Can you hear me? What's your name?
And seems to catch a woman's voice.
You want to talk to them?
The only problem? Chris is entirely alone, a fact that sends chills down his spine once he gets to the end of the session. The clearest audio caught during an investigation, with no plausible explanation. Could it be a former resident of Hot Springs speaking from beyond? Or a lost group member's conversation caught nearby? Whatever it may be, it's marked this night as a win for the group, firmly putting the Malco Theater in the supernatural state.
No way. Oh my goodness, Keith.
That was good. Sweet and Sour's next adventure will be right here.
Yeah.
And there's the culprit.
Wow.
You can catch every episode of the Supernatural State on our website, KARK.com, and every episode of KARK After Dark right here at 10.
Yeah, because that's apparently
you
where
never
we
know
are.
where Keith is lurking.
I don't even know what's happening. I've got chills.